Have you ever looked at the things that once excited you and felt absolutely nothing? Not anger, not sadness, just a strange emptiness. The movies you used to love feel pointless. The conversations feel shallow. The goals you once chased suddenly feel distant, almost meaningless. And the scariest part is this question that slowly creeps into your mind. What's wrong with me? You try to fix it. You open another app, watch another video, scroll a little longer, but nothing sticks. The excitement fades faster than it arrives. And deep down, a quiet fear starts growing. What if you're losing your passion? What if you're becoming lazy? What if this numbness never goes away? Or what if the truth is the complete opposite? What if this strange feeling, this loss of interest, is actually the first sign that your life is about to change? Most people misunderstand this moment completely. They think motivation has disappeared. They think discipline has died. They think they have somehow broken their own mind. But something much deeper is happening. Your brain is starting to reject the things that once distracted you. For years, your attention was trained to chase stimulation, quick pleasure, easy excitement, endless noise. Your mind became used to constant hits of dopamine, tiny bursts of entertainment that kept you moving but never really fulfilled. And at first, it felt good. It felt normal. Everyone around you was doing the same thing. But something inside you has started waking up. Now the same distractions feel empty. The same habits feel heavy. The same routines feel like you're walking in circles. This is the moment where most people panic. They try to force themselves to feel excited again. They search for new distractions, new shows, new games, and new ways to escape the silence that's starting to grow inside them. Because silence feels uncomfortable. When the noise disappears, you're left alone with your thoughts. And for many people, that's terrifying. But here's the truth. Very few people realize that silence isn't your enemy. It's a signal, a powerful one. Your mind is starting to outgrow the things that once controlled your attention. The endless scrolling, the empty entertainment, the small goals that never truly meant anything to you. You're not losing interest in life. You're losing interest in the version of life that was never meant for you in the first place. But the mind doesn't transition smoothly. Growth rarely feels exciting in the beginning. It feels confusing. It feels like standing in the middle of a room where all the furniture has been removed. The old things that once filled your space are gone, but the new ones haven't arrived yet. So everything feels empty. And humans are wired to fear emptiness. Our brains crave certainty, familiar patterns, predictable rewards. When those rewards disappear, the brain sends warning signals. Something is wrong. Something is missing. Go back to what felt comfortable. That's why so many people run back to distractions the moment they feel this void. They never stay long enough to understand what's really happening. Because if they did, they would notice something remarkable. The longer you sit with that emptiness, the more your mind begins to shift. Your thoughts slow down, your attention sharpens, and the noise that once controlled you starts losing its power. At first, it feels like boredom, then it becomes clarity. You begin to notice things you ignored before. You question habits that once felt automatic. You start realizing how much of your time, energy, and focus was being pulled in directions that never actually mattered to you. And that realization is uncomfortable because once you see it, you can't unsee it. The life that once felt normal suddenly feels small. The distractions that once entertained you start looking like cages. And the version of you that was comfortable staying there begins to disappear. This is the moment where everything changes, not loudly, not dramatically, quietly. Because when you stop chasing constant stimulation, something powerful begins to grow in its place, attention. And attention is where real life begins. And when your attention begins to return, something uncomfortable happens. You start seeing your life clearly, not the version you tell people, not the version you post online, the real one. You notice how much time slips away every day, hours that vanish into screens, noise and distractions that leave nothing behind. You begin to feel the weight of it because attention is power. Where your attention goes, your life follows. And for the first time, you realize how much of that power has been stolen from you, not by force, but by design. Endless feeds, endless notifications, endless stimulation, all competing for one thing, your focus. Your mind was trained to jump from one thing to the next. Quick rewards, instant entertainment, constant novelty. But now something inside you refuses to keep playing that game. The old tricks don't work anymore. You try to escape back into them sometimes, out of habit, out of comfort. But the satisfaction fades faster each time. It's like your brain is saying, we've done this enough. This is where the tension grows. Because when distractions lose their power, you're left facing something most people spend their entire lives avoiding. your potential. And potential is heavy. It whispers questions that are hard to ignore. What are you actually doing with your life? What are you building? What will exist because you are here? These questions are uncomfortable because they demand responsibility. They force you to confront the gap between who something is missing, but it become. Most people run from that gap. They drown it in entertainment. They silence it with noise. They fill every quiet moment with something, anything, just to avoid hearing their own thoughts. But when your mind starts waking up, that escape becomes harder. You begin noticing patterns, the conversations that go nowhere, the routines that lead nowhere, the habits that slowly drain your energy. What once felt normal now feels like a loop. Wake up, consume, distract yourself, sleep, repeat. Days blending into weeks, weeks blending into years, and suddenly a frightening realization hits you. This could be your entire life if nothing changes. That realization creates pressure, real pressure, not the kind that crushes you, the kind that wakes you up. Because once you see the loop, you can't pretend it's not there. And something deep inside you begins to resist it. You start craving something different, not louder, not easier, just real. You want effort that means something, work that builds something, focus that moves your life forward instead of spinning in circles. But here's the challenge. The moment you start wanting more, the world around you doesn't change with you. The same distractions are still there. The same people still live the same patterns. The same systems still compete for your attention every second of the day. So the battle moves inward. Every day becomes a quiet decision. Do you go back to comfort or step into discomfort? Comfort is easy. It asks nothing from you. It lets you drift. Discomfort asks everything. It demands your focus, your patience, your discipline, your time. And at first, your brain fights it. You'll feel resistance. You'll feel boredom. You'll feel moments where the old distractions seem easier, lighter, more tempting. This is not failure. This is rewiring. This is rewiring. Your brain spent years learning how to chase easy rewards. Now it's learning how to value deeper ones. That process takes time. But something amazing begins to happen when you stay in it. Your focus grows stronger. Tasks that once felt impossible to concentrate on start becoming manageable. Your mind stops jumping as much. The noise in your head begins to settle, and in that stillness, ideas appear. Real ideas, thoughts about things you could build, skills you could master, paths you could walk that actually excite you in a deeper way. Not the shallow excitement of quick dopamine, the quiet excitement of growth, the kind that doesn't explode like fireworks, but burns steadily like a flame. This is where the shift truly begins. Because once your mind tastes that kind of focus, it doesn't want to go back. You begin protecting your attention like something valuable. You become more selective with your time, more aware of what drains you, more intentional about what you allow into your mind. Slowly, your life starts changing, not because the world changed, but because your attention finally did. And once your attention becomes valuable to you, everything starts revealing its true cost. Every distraction asks for a piece of your life. Every distraction asks for a piece of your life. Every meaningless habit steals a little more time. Every moment you spend drifting pulls you further away from the person you could become. You begin to feel that cost in your chest, not as guilt, not as shame, but as urgency, because the truth becomes impossible to ignore. Your life is being built right now, in the quiet choices no one sees, in the hours that disappear unnoticed, in the moments where you either lean into growth or fall back into comfort, and suddenly the days feel different. The clock feels louder. Time no longer feels endless. It feels precious. You start noticing how quickly days pass when they're filled with nothing. Weeks vanish. Months blur together. Years slip away while people wait for the right moment to start living differently. But that moment rarely arrives because waiting becomes a habit, and habits build lives. This is a line most people never cross. They stay aware of their potential but never act on it. They recognize the loop but never break it. They feel the discomfort of wasted time, but they keep choosing the familiar path. Not because they want to, because it's easier. The human brain loves efficiency. Once it learns a routine, it will repeat it endlessly, even when that routine slowly destroys your growth. That's why change feels so heavy. It demands energy, focus, courage. It asks you to interrupt patterns that have been running quietly in the background of your life for years. But here is the moment everything becomes real. You realize that if you don't interrupt those patterns, nothing will. No one is coming to rearrange your habits. No one will rescue your time. No one will rescue your time. No one will build the future you imagine inside your mind. That responsibility lands entirely on you. And strangely, that realization becomes powerful because responsibility is not a burden. It is freedom. The moment you accept that your attention shapes your life, you gain control over something incredibly valuable. Direction. You stop drifting. You start choosing. You begin asking different questions each day. Is this worth my time? Is this moving my life forward? Is this helping me become the person I know I can be? And those questions slowly start reshaping your behavior. You become less tolerant of things that waste your focus. Endless scrolling feels heavier. Empty conversations feel draining. Mindless routines start losing their grip on you. It's not that you hate them. You've simply outgrown them. And growth always demands sacrifice. You will leave behind habits that once felt comforting. You will leave behind habits that once felt comforting. You will distance yourself from environments that kept you small. You will say no to things that once filled your time, not out of arrogance, out of clarity, because every no you say creates space for something better. Space for learning, space for building, space for becoming someone stronger. At first, this shift feels lonely. When you step away from the noise, the world becomes quieter. Fewer distractions, fewer pointless conversations, fewer moments of shallow entertainment. But inside that quiet, something powerful begins forming. Focus turns into discipline. Discipline turns into momentum. And momentum changes everything. You begin finishing things you once abandoned. You start showing up even when motivation disappears. You build small victories that stack on top of each other like bricks. Day by day, something solid begins to rise from the emptiness you once feared. Confidence. Not loud confidence. Not the kind that demands attention. The quiet confidence of someone who knows they are no longer drifting through life. You feel it in the way you think, in the way you spend your time, in the way you protect your energy. The world around you may look the same, but internally, you are no longer the same person who once needed constant noise to feel alive. Now you understand something most people never discover. Life does not become meaningful because of what you build with your attention. And the moment you realize that, everything sharpens. You stop looking for life to entertain you. You start asking what you are building with it, because entertainment fades. It always does. The thrill disappears. The excitement burns out. What remains is the structure of your days, the habits you repeated, the things you created when no one was watching. That is the real shape of your life. And once you see that truth, drifting becomes unbearable. You start noticing something that most people ignore their entire lives. Your future is not some distant event waiting ahead. It is being quietly assembled there right now, piece by piece, in the smallest decisions you make every day, the extra hour you spend learning something difficult, the moment you resist the urge to escape into distraction, the choice to focus when your mind wants to wander. These moments seem small, almost invisible, but they are not small at all. They are the turning points. Because every time you choose focus over distraction, something inside you grows stronger. Your mind becomes steadier. Your patience deepens. Your ability to stay with difficult things begins to expand. And that ability is rare. Most people never train it. They move through life chasing stimulation, jumping from one quick reward to the next. Their attention is scattered. Their energy is fragmented. Their potential stays locked away because they never stay focused long enough to build anything real. But you are beginning to see the pattern. And once you see the pattern, you can step outside of it. You begin guarding your attention like it's the most valuable thing you own. Because it is. Your attention decides what you learn. It decides what you build. It decides what you build. It decides who you become. Where your attention goes long enough, your identity follows. That realization changes the way you move through the world. You become slower, but sharper. You don't react to everything anymore. You observe, you think. You choose carefully where your energy goes. And slowly, something extraordinary begins to happen. The things that once felt impossible start becoming achievable. Not because the tasks became easier, because you became stronger. Your ability to stay with a problem grows. Your tolerance for boredom increases. Your focus stretches further than it ever has before. And in that extended focus, you begin producing results. Real progress. The kind that builds quietly at first. The kind that nobody notices in the beginning. But you notice. You see the difference in your thoughts. You feel the shift in your discipline. You recognize that the person you were months ago would have given up long before reaching this point. That realization creates a new kind of belief, not the fragile belief that depends on motivation, the deeper belief that comes from evidence. You showed up again. You stayed focused again. You kept building when it would have been easier to stop. And every time you do that, your identity shifts a little more. You are no longer someone searching for excitement. You are someone capable of creating meaning. That distinction changes everything because meaning lasts longer than excitement ever could. Excitement burns fast. Meaning burns steady. It carries you through the difficult days when motivation disappears. It holds you in place when distractions pull at your attention. And the world will keep pulling. Every day there will be easier paths calling your name. Faster rewards, simpler distractions. The same loops that trap millions of people in lives that never quite feel fulfilling. The difference now is that you can see those loops clearly. You recognize the cost. Every time you choose them, you trade a piece of your potential with people. Every time you resist them, you reclaim a piece of your future. That is the real battle of your life, not against other people, against the quiet forces that try to scatter your attention and keep you small. But something inside you has already changed. You have felt the emptiness of endless distraction. You have experienced the silence that follows when those distractions lose their power. And in that silence, you discovered something most people never find. Your ability to build a life that actually means something, not through noise, through focus. And once you truly understand that, you can never go back to living on autopilot again. World starts feeling heavier, not because it changed, but because you have. Every choice suddenly carries weight. Every hour of distraction feels like a debt. Every moment you let pass without building, learning, or creating presses on your chest. The emptiness you once feared is no longer empty. It's demanding. It's asking you to show up, to decide, to fight. You begin noticing the subtle ways life has been slipping through your fingers. How many mornings you woke up scrolling instead of thinking. How many nights you fell asleep numbly, repeating the same patterns without intention. How many years could vanish if you keep drifting the same way. The urgency hits in quiet, relentless pulses. Every second counts. Every decision has gravity. You cannot afford to waste this awareness. And that is the stark truth most people avoid. Life doesn't hand itself to the distracted. It rewards the deliberate, the ones who refuse to drift, the ones who stare at the discomfort and do not look away, the ones who transform emptiness into opportunity instead of fleeing from. That is where power lives. That is where transformation begins. You begin to feel it in your body. The tension, the resistance, the need to act before another moment disappears. The mind that once accepted noise now demands clarity. Your energy shifts. You no longer tolerate trivialities. You no longer chase shallow victories. Your focus narrows. Your discipline sharpens. And everything you touch carries more weight because you carry more weight yourself. The stakes rise with every passing day. Every habit you ignore, every distraction you indulge, every comfort you cling to is a brick in a wall that keeps you from your potential. And deep inside, you sense the cost. Not hypothetically, not vaguely. You feel it as a slow pressing urgency, a quiet scream that says build, create, scream that says build, create, that says build, create, focus, security, or this life will slip too. Hurl your hands. That realization ignites a different kind of fire. Not the fleeting thrill of instant gratification, not the empty rush of temporary pleasure, but the long-burning heat of purpose, the hunger for growth, the drive to reclaim the time, energy, and focus that were quietly stolen from you. You can almost feel the version of yourself waiting on the other side of this struggle. Stronger, smarter, sharper, focused, alive, and the journey is relentless. The world will not make it easy. The old loops, the distractions, the temptations, they are still there, louder than ever. The pull to comfort is powerful. The voices of doubt, laziness, and fear will try to convince you to return to the old ways. You will feel them, you will wrestle with them, and you will have to decide moment by moment whether you will yield or persist. Every time you persist, you build momentum. Every time you resist, your mind rewires itself. Focus becomes muscle memory. Patience grows, discipline deepens, and slowly, almost imperceptibly, you begin constructing something others only dream of. Not through luck, not through fleeting motivation, but through the quiet, relentless effort that most people abandon before seeing results. And soon you notice a subtle but unmistakable change. Life starts to feel denser, richer, more vivid. The ordinary becomes extraordinary. Moments carry weight. Challenges feel like opportunities. The quiet victories you stack each day accumulate into something tangible, something that cannot be taken away. Your confidence grows not as an illusion, but as evidence. Evidence that you are capable of more than you ever allowed yourself to believe. This is the turning point. Not dramatic, not sudden, but undeniable. You understand that the old life, the one built on distraction and shallow pleasure, was never yours to keep. You see now that losing interest in ever thing was not failure till it was the first step toward reclaiming your attention, your power, and your life. And with that understanding comes a choice. Every moment forward matters. Every decision to focus, to resist, to build, to create compounds. There is no pause button. There is no do-over. The world does not wait. Your potential will not wait, and neither can you. The time for hesitation is gone. The fire inside you will not be contained. You have seen the cost of distraction. You have felt the hunger for meaning. And now, every second becomes an opportunity to forge the life you were truly meant to live. You cannot waste another moment. Every choice you make from here shapes the person you will become. Every thought you cultivate, every habit you adopt, every act of focus builds a life of depth, strength, and purpose. This is the relentless truth. The life you dream of exists on the other side of your attention. Guard it, fight for it, build it, because nothing else will, and nothing else matters. And now the world feels different, not because it changed, but because you see it clearly. Every moment carries weight. Every choice carries consequences. Every distraction is no longer harmless. You begin to feel the pressure of your own potential pressing against the walls of your comfort. You cannot ignore it anymore. The old version of you, the one who scrolled endlessly, distracted themselves, drifted through days, would have dismissed this awareness. They would have buried it beneath noise and trivialities, hoping the feeling of urgency would fade. But you are no longer that person. The pull towards shallow satisfaction is still there, louder than ever, but something inside refuses to bend. You feel it in your chest, a quiet insistence, a fire demanding action. Time becomes sharper. You notice how many mornings were wasted in half-awake routines, how many nights ended without progress, how many days vanished while you were busy chasing meaningless stimulation. You feel it as a subtle ache, a rising tension that will not be silenced, and that tension becomes a weapon, a constant reminder that every moment matters, that every decision carries power. You begin to see how fragile life is, how easy it is to drift, to let years vanish, to trade your attention for distractions that offer nothing. And suddenly, the stakes are undeniable, not in some distant future, not in abstract terms. Right now, this moment, the next hour, the next day, this is where your life is built or lost. And with that realization comes urgency. Real urgency. You cannot afford hesitation. You cannot afford distractions disguised as comfort. You cannot afford to drift while the world keeps moving. Every second wasted is a second stolen from your potential. Every thought left unchecked, every habit left unexamined, every moment surrendered to mindless routines is a brick in a wall keeping you from becoming who you are meant to be. You feel the pressure of it, and it fuels you. Because pressure is not weakness, it is the raw material of transformation. The moment you acknowledge that the cost of inaction is higher than the discomfort of growth, something shifts. You start acting differently. Choosing differently, protecting your attention with a vigilance you never had before, and every choice begins to compound. Focus strengthens, discipline deepens, patience disciplines. You are no longer content to chase fleeting pleasure. You are no longer willing to settle for shallow victories. You have tasted the quiet strength that comes from building momentum, from stacking small wins, from showing up when your mind wants to quit. And that taste becomes addictive, not the shallow kind, not the empty thrill, but the deep, steady satisfaction of progress, the kind that shapes identity. Your identity begins to align with action. Every deliberate choice rewires you. Every moment you resist the urge to drift rewrites your story. You are no longer the person who needed noise to survive. You are the person who thrives in focus, who commands attention, who shapes life instead of letting it shape them. And as clarity grows, so does responsibility. You feel the weight of your potential pressing against you, urging you forward. The world will not give you more time. Life does not pause for hesitation. The version of yourself you dream of exists only on the other side of this resistance. Every distraction you resist, every moment you focus, every act of discipline brings you closer. Every lapse delays you. Every wasted second steals from the life you could have. The stakes are now undeniable. This is no longer about small victories or fleeting satisfaction. This is about reclaiming your time, your focus, your energy. This is about refusing to drift, refusing to settle, refusing to surrender to a life that feels empty. You feel it in your bones. Every heartbeat, every breath, every second of awareness carries the weight of possibility. And deep inside, you know you cannot afford to stop. Because once you glimpse what is possible, the power of undivided attention, the strength of discipline, the life built deliberately, You cannot unsee it. The quiet fire within you demands action. It will not rest. It will not settle. It will drive you forward moment by moment, choice by choice, toward a life of real meaning, real achievement, and real transformation. The world will continue to offer noise. The easy path will always call. But you have felt the weight of focus, the hunger for purpose, and the fire of potential. Nothing will feel the same again, and you cannot go back. You will not go back. You will not go back. Every step forward now matters. Every choice now shapes the person you are becoming. Every second is a brick in the foundation of the life you were meant to live. You have seen the cost of distraction. You have felt the power of attention. And now there is no other way forward but through it. And now the world feels sharper, heavier, alive with consequence. Every choice, every thought, every moment carries weight you can no longer ignore. The comfort you once clung to now feels like a trap. Every second spent distracted, drifting, scrolling, numbing yourself, presses against the part of you that wants more. You feel it in your chest, a quiet but relentless pressure. The pressure to act, to focus, to build, to become someone who refuses to settle for mediocrity. You realize the stakes have never been higher. Not tomorrow, not next week. Right now, every moment of inattention chips away at your potential. Every choice to chase easy satisfaction steals from the life you could be living. Every time you surrender to distraction, you are surrendering the version of yourself you were meant to become. And the truth is unavoidable. If you continue like this, nothing changes. Not your circumstances, not your habits, not your life. But here's the hard and beautiful truth. You already have the power to change it. You have the ability to reclaim your attention, to sharpen your focus, to build momentum so strong that distractions cannot touch you. You can create the life you were meant to live. But nothing comes to those who wait. Nothing rewards hesitation. The window of opportunity is fragile, and every moment wasted is a moment lost forever. The urgency hits now because you have glimpsed the alternative. You have seen what a distracted life looks like. The quiet erosion of potential, the endless loop of shallow pleasure, the slow fade of energy and ambition. You have felt the emptiness. You have felt the fire of what could be if you chose differently. And now the choice is stark. Continue drifting or step fully into the life you were capable of building. Your mind will resist. It will beg for comfort. It will whisper excuses, tempt you with ease, and convince you to return to the old ways. The pull is strong because the old habits are familiar. They are worn paths that feel safe. But you have felt what lies beyond comfort. You have felt the clarity that comes when distractions lose their power. And that clarity is unstoppable. It demands action. It demands focus. It demands that you fight for every second of your attention. Every day will test you. Every hour will challenge your resolve. The world is designed to scatter your focus, to pull you back into noise, to convince you that your attention belongs to it. But the stronger truth is this. Your attention belongs to you. Guard it, protect it. Demand it back from anything that does not serve your growth, your pros, your potential. Every small victory of focus compounds. Every moment of deliberate action rewires your mind. Every second spent resisting distraction is a brick in the foundation of the life you were meant to live. And so you notice a shift. The world may look the same, but you are no longer the same. Your thoughts sharpen. Your patience deepens. Your ability to stay with difficult, meaningful tasks grows. What once felt impossible to focus on now feels manageable. What once seemed boring now feels purposeful. The quiet victories accumulate into momentum. Momentum becomes habit. Habit becomes identity. You are becoming someone who cannot be swayed by empty instead of consumes. Someone who creates instead of consumes. Someone whose life is defined by what they build, not what they chase. And with that identity comes power. Not the kind of power that demands attention from others. Not the kind of power measured by fame or wealth. The real power is quiet, steady, unstoppable. It is the power of a mind that chooses its focus. The power of a life built deliberately, moment by moment, choice by choice. The power that comes from realizing you are responsible for every second of your life and accepting that responsible for every second of your life and accepting that responsible for every second of your life. This is the point where everything crystallizes. The fire inside you becomes uncontainable. You cannot drift. You cannot waste. You cannot waste. You cannot return to the old ways. You have seen the cost of distraction. You have felt the hunger for meaning. You have tasted the strength that comes from focus. And now there is no other option but to act. To guard your attention fiercely, to resist every pull that steals from your potential, to build the life that exists only on the other side of deliberate, relentless focus. Every moment now matters. Every choice defines you. Every second shapes the person you are becoming. You cannot afford to hesitate. You cannot afford to be distracted. You cannot afford to settle. The fire inside demands it. The clarity you have glimpsed demands it. Your life demands it. And if you step fully into this, if you fight for every second, protect every ounce of attention, and focus relentlessly, you will become unstoppable. You will become the person you were always meant to be. And nothing, not time, not distraction, not the world itself, will ever take that from you. And now you feel it. The tension, the urgency, the weight of your own potential pressing on every thought, every choice, every second. Nothing feels small anymore. Every moment carries meaning. Every distraction carries consequence. Every decision shapes the person you are becoming. You sense the stakes more clearly than ever. Time is slipping. Opportunity is fleeting. And nothing will wait for hesitation. You cannot waste another second. You begin to see how easy it would be to return to the old ways. The noise would welcome you back. The comfort would call. The shallow pleasures would tempt you with promises of relief, of ease, of immediate satisfaction. And in that moment, you realize the battle is constant. There is no pause. There is no break. The world is designed to steal your attention, to fragment your focus, to make you small while it moves on. But you are no longer the person who drifts. The quiet strength you have discovered will not be silenced. The fire inside you refuses to bend. You have tasted clarity. You have seen the alternative. You have felt the difference between a life built with focus and one wasted in distraction. And that knowledge carries power. A relentless, unstoppable kind of power. Every choice now carries urgency. Every moment becomes a test. Will you chase comfort or will you chase growth? Will you surrender to distraction or will you reclaim your attention? Every scene. The second matters because the accumulation of seconds builds a life. And a life built on negligence and shallow pleasure is one that disappears before it is even noticed. You feel it in your body, the pressure, the need to act. The tension that comes from knowing your potential is enormous and fleeting. You cannot wait for permission. You cannot wait for motivation to magically appear. The fire must be stoked from within. You must act relentlessly, deliberately, without pause, because the world will continue offering distractions, and it will not stop until your focus is tested at every turn. And as the days pass, the stakes climb. Every hour of wasted attention steals a piece of the person you could become. Every decision to consume instead of create builds a wall between you and the life you were meant to live. Every time you let comfort dictate your choices, the life of distraction grows stronger and the life of purpose recedes further into possibility. You feel the consequences quietly, relentlessly pressing on your mind, demanding awareness, demanding action. But with awareness comes power. With focus comes momentum, and momentum once built becomes unstoppable. The small victories you accumulate, the moments of deliberate action you stack, the choices to resist distractions all compound into something massive. A life begins forming in the quiet, not flashy or loud, but unshakable. The identity of a person who creates, who builds, who fights for every second of their attention emerges, and it is undeniable. You notice the shift within yourself. Your mind is sharper. Your patience grows. Your ability to endure discomfort strengthens. Tasks that once seemed impossible now feel attainable. Moments of focus stretch longer, and the habit of building instead of drifting becomes part of your identity. The world may appear the same, but you are no longer the same. Every thought, every action, every moment reinforces the power you have claimed. And with that power comes clarity. You see the distractions for what they are, thieves of attention, carriers of emptiness, obstacles to the life you were capable of building. You see the importance of guarding your focus, of protecting your energy, of choosing every moment deliberately. Nothing that pulls your attention away is trivial anymore. Every second wasted is a second stolen from your growth, from your potential, from the life you can create if you fight relentlessly. This is no longer theoretical. This is urgent. This is now. The life you want, the person you could be, exists only on the other side of consistent focus, deliberate choices, and relentless action. Every moment matters. Every decision counts. You cannot pause. You cannot drift. You cannot surrender. The fire inside you, the hunger for meaning, the pressure of your potential demands action. And if you choose to embrace it, if you decide to fight for every second, protect your attention fiercely, and act without compromise, you will become unstoppable. You will become the person you were always meant to be. And nothing, no distraction, no comfort, no delay will ever take that from you. And now you feel it more than ever. The weight of your life pressing against every second, the urgency of your potential whispering insistently in your mind. Nothing can be ignored. Every distraction now feels like a betrayal. Every wasted moment feels like a theft from the person you are meant to become. You cannot afford to drift. You cannot afford hesitation. The fire inside you will not allow it. You realize how easily life can slip away. Days vanish while you scroll. Weeks dissolve while you chase empty pleasure. Years can fade before you even notice, leaving nothing but regret and the haunting question of what could have been. Have you seen the cost? You have felt the emptiness. And that clarity ignites something unstoppable. The hunger for meaning, the need to act, the refusal to waste another second. The world around you remains the same. The noise, the distractions, the easy comforts, they are relentless. They are designed to pull you back, to fragment your attention, to keep you small. They will not stop. They will not pause. They will not give your life back to you. You are on your own. And that truth, as heavy as it feels, is also liberating. Because if no one else will guard your attention, if no one else will fight for your life, then you can. You must, and you have the power. Every choice becomes critical. Every second is decisive. Every action, no matter how small, compounds. Resisting a distraction, choosing focus over ease, finishing what others abandon. These moments build the foundation of your future, and you see now that nothing else matters. Fame, comfort, approval, entertainment, all of it fades. Only what you create, only what you focus on, only what you build with intention endures. You begin to feel the pressure of responsibility, not as guilt, not as shame, but as urgency. A quiet, relentless force demanding your full presence. The life you want will not happen by accident. It will not arrive through luck or fleeting motivation. It must be built brick by brick, moment by moment, decision by decision. And every second you waste is a brick that never reaches the wall you are constructing. Your mind resists. It whispers for comfort. It searches for ease. It tries to convince you that distraction is harmless, that procrastination is acceptable, that drifting through life is normal. You feel that pull. You feel the temptation. You feel the weight of inertia. But you also feel the strength growing inside you, the clarity that cannot be ignored. You have seen the difference between a distracted life and a life of purpose. You have felt it, and you will not settle for less. Momentum builds quietly at first. Small victories accumulate. Focus becomes habit. Discipline strengthens. You begin finishing what once remained incomplete. You start taking responsibility for every choice. The version of yourself that once drifted is fading. In its place emerges someone deliberate, intentional, unshakable. Someone who sees the cost of distraction and refuses to pay it. Someone who builds relentlessly, patiently, powerfully, and the world begins to feel different, not because it changed, but because you did. Challenges no longer intimidates, boredom no longer tempts, the pull of comfort no longer dominates. You move with purpose, with precision, with patience. Every action aligns with your intention. Every choice reinforces your focus. Every moment shapes your identity. You have become a force of deliberate creation, and it is unstoppable. Every day, every hour, every minute matters. Time will not wait. Motivation will not appear on demand. Life will not hand you meaning. You must seize it. You must guard it. You must act relentlessly to build what matters. The cost of inaction has become unbearable. The price of drifting has become visible in every wasted second you have ever felt, and that awareness fuels you, sharpens you, drives you forward. Nothing outside can create your life. Only what you choose, only what you focus on, only what you build defines it. Every distraction resisted, every act of focus, every deliberate choice compounds into the unstoppable force of who you are becoming. And once you step fully into this truth, there is no going back. The fire inside you demands it. The clarity you have glimpsed commands it. Life you are capable of building depends on it. You cannot pause. You cannot drift. You cannot waste. You cannot waste. There a second. The person you are meant to be is waiting. And every moment you act shapes that reality. And now the fire inside you burns hotter. Every second of distraction feels heavier than ever before. Every wasted moment carries weight. You have seen how life slips through your fingers when focus falters. You have felt the ache of potential ignored. You have felt the emptiness that comes from drifting, and now nothing will allow you to settle for less. The cost is too high. The stakes are too real. You begin to see how easily life can vanish. Hours bleed into days, days into weeks, weeks into years, and suddenly decades disappear without a trace of accomplishment. The future you imagine, the person you want to become, exists only if you fight for it relentlessly. Every second squandered is a brick in a wall between you and that life. Every moment surrendered to comfort, to ease, to fleeting pleasure steals what you could have built with focus, discipline, and attention. And that is where urgency becomes undeniable. You cannot drift. You cannot procrastinate. You cannot let the mind wander while life waits. Motivation will not arrive on its own. Inspiration will not descend. The fire inside you must be stoked. The energy must be harnessed. You must act with deliberate force, moment by moment, choice by choice. Your potential will not wait. Your time will not wait. Your time will not wait. The resistance will be fierce. Your old habits will try to drag you back. The pull of distraction is relentless. Comfort will whisper promises of ease and safety. The mind will protest. Laziness will demand attention. Fear will whisper that the effort is too much. You will feel it. You will wrestle with it. And you will have to decide every single second whether you surrender or persist. But every choice to persist compounds. Every moment of focus stacks upon the last. Discipline strengthens patience. Patience key. Rose. Momentum builds. The person who once drifted fades, replaced by someone deliberate, intentional, unstoppable. A person who sees the cost of distraction and refuses to pay it. A person who chooses creation over consumption. A person who understands that life is measured not by fleeting pleasure, but by what is built, sustained, and achieved. And the clarity that comes from that choice is unmatched. You see what matters. You see what destroys. You see how easily attention can be stolen and how valuable it truly is. Every habit, every action, every second becomes a tool or a threat. Nothing is trivial. Nothing is wasted. Your awareness sharpens. Your decisions gain precision. Your life begins to take shape in ways it never could. While drifting, you begin to feel unstoppable, not in a flashy way, not in a way the world immediately notices, but in a quiet, unshakable strength that cannot be interrupted by noise, temptation, or fleeting distractions. Your mind is sharper, your focus is steady, your patience is deep, and in that steadiness, real progress accumulates. Projects finish, skills develop, goals advance. The person you were dreaming of becoming starts to exist in reality, and the stakes only rise. Every second matters. Every choice matters. Every moment spent without deliberate action steals from your potential, from the life you could have, from the person you are meant to be. You can no longer afford hesitation. You cannot drift. You cannot give attention to things that do not matter. Every moment is a test, and every choice determines whether you build or diminish, whether you grow or stagnate, whether you become or fade. You begin to understand that nothing outside yourself can create the life you desire. The world will continue offering distractions, comfort, and noise. People will continue to chase ease, avoiding the work it takes to grow. Time will continue to pass. Only what you do, only how you focus, only the attention you guard and use relentlessly shapes the life you were meant to live. And once that truth fully lands, there is no turning back. You cannot drift again. You cannot ignore the fire inside. You cannot surrender to distraction. You have glimpsed what is possible. You have felt the hunger for purpose. You have experienced the clarity of focus and the momentum of discipline. The path forward is clear, and it demands action. Every second counts. Every choice matters. Every moment shapes the person you are becoming. You will not waste another one. You will not drift. You will fight for your attention, for your focus, for your life. And if you do, you will become unstoppable. You will become the person you were always meant to be. And nothing, no distraction, no delay, no comfort will ever take that from you. And now you feel the weight of what's at stake more than ever. Every second of inattention, every moment surrendered to comfort is a choice to remain small. You see it clearly. A life drifted through is a life lost before it even begins. The distractions that once felt harmless now feel like chains. Every notification, every fleeting thrill, every mindless habit pulls at you, attempting to scatter your focus and steal your potential. You feel the urgency, raw and undeniable, pressing in with every heartbeat. You understand that time does not pause for hesitation. Motivation does not arrive on demand. Opportunity does not wait for readiness. The only thing that moves the life you desire forward is deliberate action. You must claim it, protect it, fight for it relentlessly. The world will continue to tempt, to distract, to try and pull you back into the fog of ease. You have seen it before and you will see it again. But this time, you refuse to succumb. Every choice now carries weight. Every moment is decisive. Each act of focus, each refusal of distraction, each completed task compounds. Momentum grows. Discipline strengthens, patience deepens. And slowly, almost imperceptibly, at first you begin to feel unstoppable. Not in a flashy, external way, but in the deep, unshakable way that changes everything. You are no longer drifting. You are no longer passive. You are building. You are creating. You are becoming. The old version of you, the one who surrendered to every urge for comfort, would have ignored this pressure. They would have rationalized the noise, excused the distraction, pretended that life could wait. But that person is fading, and the person who remains is deliberate, intentional, unyielding. Every act of focus is a brick in the foundation of a life that matters. Every second of attention reclaimed is power taken back from a world that would have stolen it from you. And yet the resistance will not disappear. Your mind will still crave ease. Your body will still resist effort. Comfort will still beckon with its seductive whispers. Fear will appear dressed as reason, trying to convince you that the struggle is too heavy, that the effort is unnecessary, that the drift is acceptable. You will feel it. You will wrestle with it. And every moment you persist despite it, you grow stronger. Every time you resist, you are forging the unshakable will that will define the rest of your life. Momentum now becomes your ally. Focus becomes muscle memory. Small victories accumulate into unstoppable force. Tasks that once seemed insurmountable now feel possible. Boredom, once unbearable, now becomes a space for growth. You are no longer controlled by fleeting excitement or shallow stimulation. You have learned to command your attention. You have learned to shape your life. You have learned to act deliberately in every moment that matters. The clarity that emerges is undeniable. You see distractions for what they truly are, thieves of attention, carriers of emptiness, obstacles to your growth. You see the cost of hesitation. You feel the urgency of every second. You understand that the life you want, the person you could be, will not arrive by accident. It will only exist if you fight for it relentlessly. Every choice matters. Every moment counts. Every second shapes the person you are becoming. And the fire inside you grows hotter. Not a fire that burns briefly and fades, but a steady, relentless blaze that drives every action, every decision, every thought. You cannot drift. You cannot surrender. You cannot waste another second. The clarity you have glimpsed, the power you have felt, the momentum you have built, all demand that you continue, that you act without compromise, that you claim the life that exists on the other side of focus, discipline, and relentless action. You have glimpsed the alternative, a life of drifting, of distraction, of unrealized potential, and you will never go back. Every moment now is decisive. Every choice builds or diminishes. Every action strengthens or weakens the force of who you are becoming. You feel it in your chest, in your mind, in every fiber of your being. The urgency, the responsibility, the power, the life you are capable of exists only through relentless focus, only through deliberate, unyielding effort, only through refusing to drift ever again. And the truth is unstoppable. You cannot pause. You cannot ignore it. You cannot ignore it. You cannot surrender. Every second counts. Every choice shapes your identity. Every moment is an opportunity to reclaim your attention, harness your focus, and build a life that you were always meant to live. The fire inside you will not let you drift. The clarity you have gained will not let you settle. And the person you're becoming, relentless, deliberate, unstoppable, will never allow you to look back. And now you feel it in every fiber of your being. The weight of distraction pressing down, the urgency of your potential refusing to be ignored. You cannot drift. You cannot delay. Every moment you waste is a moment stolen from the person you are meant to become. You feel it in your chest, in your mind, in the quiet pull of possibility that refuses to be silenced. Time is slipping. Seconds are disappearing, slipping past unnoticed, and you are beginning to understand the cost. Days vanish into weeks. Weeks vanish into months. And suddenly you realize that years can disappear while the distracted chase comfort, entertainment, and ease. And that realization hits like a hammer. Your life is being built now. Every thought, every action, every choice is shaping who you are becoming. Motivation does not appear on command. Opportunity does not wait. The only thing that will move your life forward is relentless, deliberate action. Every second of focus, every choice to resist distraction, every act of discipline compounds, momentum grows. Habits strengthen, so the person you once were, the one who drifted, fades as someone new emerges, someone intentional, someone unstoppable. The resistance is strong. Comfort tempts you. The mind whispers its excuses. Fear and laziness will try to convince you to surrender, to return to the old ways. You will feel it gnaws. You will wrestle with it. And every time you choose to persist, every time you resist, you are building power, a quiet, unshakable strength that cannot be taken away. Each act of focus, each moment of deliberate choice rewires your mind. Your identity shifts. You are no longer defined by distraction. You are defined by creation. And as clarity grows, you see the cost of inaction. The life you could have slips further from those who drift. The opportunity, time squandered, the potential wasted, the moment surrendered to noise. They are unbearable to witness. And that unbearable to witness and that unbearable truth fuels you. It sharpens your mind. It intensifies your focus. It ignites the relentless drive that cannot be silenced. You cannot allow another second to pass without purpose. You cannot afford to drift. Every small victory now matters. Every completed task, every moment of concentration, every refusal to chase fleeting pleasure compounds. Momentum becomes habit. Habit becomes identity. You begin finishing projects that once seemed impossible. You endure discomfort without fleeing. You create while others consume. You build while others drift. And in that quiet, relentless building, your life begins to take shape in ways that feel unstoppable. You notice the transformation within yourself. The mind that once scattered now focuses. Patience that once faltered now endures. The ability to sustain effort, to resist ease, to continue despite discomfort grows stronger. Boredom no longer tempts you into distraction. Challenges no longer tempts you into distraction. Challenges no longer tempts you. The world around you may appear the same, but you are not. Every second spent deliberately, every choice made with intention is constructing a version of you that is unstoppable, unshakable, alive, and the stakes climb higher. Every moment carries meaning. Every choice determines whether you build or erode, whether you grow or stagnate, whether you create or drift. Life will not pause. Time will not wait. Motivation will not arrive. Every second you fail to act is a second lost. And that pressure, as heavy as it feels, is the fuel for transformation. The urgency inside you becomes the engine driving everything forward. Distractions will persist. The world will continue offering noise, comfort, and fleeting thrills. Only your focus can protect you. Oh, Ian Lee, your deliberate action can construct the life you want. Only your relentless attention can forge the person you are capable of becoming. And now, with everything clear, with the fire inside undeniable, there is no turning back. Every choice counts. Every second matters. Every act of focus builds momentum. Every moment of discipline shapes identity. You feel the power inside you, the clarity, the urgency, and you know you cannot pause. You cannot drift. You cannot settle. The life you are capable of, the person you were meant to become, exists only through relentless, unyielding action. And if you commit fully, guard your attention fiercely, and act without compromise, you will become unstoppable. You will become the person you were always meant to be. And nothing, no distraction, no comfort, no delay will ever take that from you.